Hey, hello everyone. All right, so we're going to do another short video on a question that came up the other day with one of the customer in the customer base. How to do inventory counting, where to access it, maybe where to go for help. So this isn't a full training session today. We're just going to give you a glimpse, and I'm also going to show you where you can find sort of more step-by-step help resources. I'm going to post some links in the video here, so you look down below in the description. I'll post some helpful links. But maybe what I'll do is I'll start off by logging into the demo system. Now, I'd like to thank Rasmus from Boyum who pointed out that they've got a fancy tool that'll allow you to load demo data. That totally wrecked all my fun. So I'm going to ignore what he said. I'm going to log into Jerwin's demo company because I like messing with it. Yeah, Jerwin logs in and he's like, "What? Who moved this? Who put that there?" I like changing names of stuff. It's just funny to watch him freak out. Anyway, okay, so we're logging into Business One. We get our messages and alerts pop up here. I'm in the HANA version of Business One and the Fiore cockpit. But again, we won't get into that. That's another video. Fiore versus non-Fiore. Okay, so the focus of today is inventory counting. So I crack my menus open. So where do I go to find this? So what are we doing? We're counting inventory for the purposes of ensuring that what's in the actual warehouse is what matches what's in our system. So of course, Business One's a perpetual inventory system, or most people use that way. Can you believe that's actually an option? You can turn it like do non-perpetual inventory. So what is perpetual inventory? It means the system is keeping track of your inventory level all the time. So ins, outs, purchases, deliveries, what have you, there's always a number tracked. And of course, the end goal of that is to always know what your inventory position is. But what happens when reality does not match what's in the system? Well, that's when you typically go in and do an inventory count. So today we're just going to cover the basic inventory count. You can do things like regular cycle countings. If you go into the inventory menu and you drill into this subfolder called item management, and then you go in there, I'm just going to expand this menu a little bit here. Sorry, not in item management, in inventory transactions. There's a few menus in here. It's good to poke around. There's a few really key menus in the inventory system. The item master is top level, but yeah, item management, I always get this confused. Yeah, you got the serial numbers and the batches in the item management, but then inventory transactions actually the folder you want. So you go in here. Here's where you can do like manual goods receipt, goods issue, transfer request, all that good stuff if you've got access. But then you see another subfolder called inventory counting transactions. And again, fairly high menu hierarchy. So this might be a good example of where we want to like just add it to our common functions there. So inventory counting is the one that we want. Now, before we get started on this module, I'm going to crack this open and I'm going to say, oh, okay, well, this is great. How do I use it? So a couple secrets. Um, One of the things that I sometimes go from is this little beauty right here. It's a SAP Business One user guide. This was written by the partner community. It's by no means comprehensive and up to date with the latest version, but a lot of the core functionality doesn't change much from version to version. So, you can buy this book. I'm going to post a link to where you can buy this book in the description below or the comments below. And you can link to it. I think it's maybe 60 or $70 Canadian, US, I'm not sure, but good desktop reference. And, if you're that kind of person, I'm on about page 423 of this guide here. And I think this was written around version 9.2 of Business One or whatever. This inventory counting function, a lot of the functions haven't changed. Where else can you go if you're looking for more up-to-date resources? I mean, you can always go in the help menu up top here, go to help, go to documentation, go to online help, look for an app. Okay, but so this little fun feedback loop that sometimes launches in SAP isn't helpful. So I'm just going to share with you the link, the online link where you can go for help. SAP's actually launched a new version, like a new sort of place to find all the documentation and resources that for Business One. I'm going to post this link that you see here, help.sap.blah, blah, blah, version 10. And you can see there's other resources here, like what's new, so on and so forth. Go to this one over here, this one that says application help. Click on version 10 and it's going to launch this page here. And this is the context-based help menu for version 10. Notice near the top, we've got SAP version 10. Again, it's not going to matter too much for this particular thing, but some things do change version to version. There's a drop down that allows you to go between the 9.3 version of this and the 10 version of this. And I guarantee you for this particular thing, it doesn't matter. For other things that it might. I think, again, this book is around 9.2. Anyway, let's press on. So if you drill into the inventory section here on the left-hand side and you go to inventory transactions, you can learn how to do the whole cycle counting thing as well. Maybe post in the comments below if you want to see that. We'll do some of that. Inventory counting. There, yeah, sorry, this is where, submenus, hey? Yeah, then we're just kind of drilling into here, like, I think inventory counting window. If we click on here, this is sort of where you want to be. Okay, so that's where you learn how to do it. Really quickly, I'm going to go and describe what you see here. So prior to version, I think it was 9.0 or 9.1, this particular window didn't exist the same way. It existed in a different way, and you couldn't actually prep your count sheets quite in the same way and then save them. This is actually a master data or a form of master data object. You can see that now it's got a number over on the right-hand side here. So if we cycle through previous inventory counts, you can see there's count sheet 2, count sheet 3. So it's like a form of master data, like there's records rather. So we're going to just do an inventory count today. I can choose single or multiple counters, and if I choose multiple, then it will actually provide more than one columns. So I'm just going to say number of individual counters. You can say, you can specify who these people are, right? Like Josh is the first one and Ron Burgundy is the second one, let's say. Okay, so let's just go for it. And number of teams. Okay, so you can also count in teams as well. We're not going to worry about that. We can find specific items. So what we actually want to do now is similar to the way you would populate like a pick list or a marketing document, you actually want to load items into this to establish your count. And again, you may only just be counting a portion of your inventory. So how do we do that? How do we add to the count sheet? We go to this button down here at the bottom that says add items, and you could import, I think maybe from a spreadsheet. Don't quote me on that. We could get into that if you want to see it. But here's where we would do sort of the basic item selection. So let's say we were just counting for a certain warehouse. We could just count based on all of the items in warehouse 1, exclude item or warehouses where there's 0 quantity. You can pick a range of item codes, vendor codes, item groups. So if we just wanted to, count the spare parts, then you go, or other properties. This is how you select what goes on the count sheet, and it can be targeted. It doesn't have to be everything. By the way, if you're sick of counting your inventory once a year and it's just too much, count it in what's called cycles. Count it piece by piece, week to week, month to month, to try to correct your inventory system. And auditors will get that, like they do like that. Okay, so we're just going to add all of the items in, and it just added all of the items from that warehouse. And you can see that some of these items are not present or in batches or different units of measure. So that particular functionality is there. You can count based on bin, you can count bin location, you can count based on unit of measure. The same item you can be counting both by box and by piece at the same time. So you kind of have 2 line items. I'm just going to add this count sheet. We're not going to get into like a super complex scenario, but if we go back and let's say we now want to count something, and this freeze column, by the way, what this does, and we can select it one by one, or we can double click and freeze the whole thing. What this does is it freezes all items in the system for any transaction. So you're not allowed to do a pick, pack, and ship or a delivery or any kind of in and out inventory transaction on those items until they've been counted and then, measured, right? Okay, so we can freeze them. It's up to you. That's what the freeze button does. It prevents anyone else in the ERP from transacting on that item until it's been counted. So let's take this, let's see here. We're going to find something that has inventory. It might be easier said than done. Okay, here, in-house inventory on count date. I'm just double clicking on this column here to filter and sort. So let's take this plastic coil crimping pliers, and we'll say, yeah, we counted it, and Josh counted 9, and Ron Burgundy counted 8. He's not really that good at counting. But notice how, because one of the counters counted differently, the line is highlighted in red because there's a setting that allows you to specify when does a line go red. Like, am I allowed to have a little bit of a variance? Am I counting something where there's an acceptable variance of, like, say 10%? Don't red the lines, we'll just correct it. But in this case, every part matters, right? So even that Ron counted 8 sort of matters. So if we go ahead and we input these, and when the counters are doing their counting, you can give them a paper sheet, you can print this out, then of course you're entering it manually, or you can give them a spreadsheet. They could make this into an Excel spreadsheet and then import the results back in. That's fine. In the case where two counters don't agree, you might say, well, go back and count it, guys, and then figure it out. And like, lo and behold, Ron goes back and he counts it. It's still 8. So Josh goes back and he's like, oh yeah, it's 8. Sorry, I miscounted. So now we have two counters that agree. So there's no variance. You see this column here, the counters difference? There's no variance between the two counters. They agree now, but there is a variance from the system. Okay, so how do we actually make the correction now? From the spreadsheet here, from the inventory spreadsheet, we we go to copy to inventory posting. So and you got a few options here. You can either take Josh's result for the real number, or you can take Ron's result, or you can just take items where the counters agree, right? Which is maybe the best way to go. If you're wanting to double check your inventory and you want the two counter system, and you believe it when they both count the same number, and you need to correct then what's in your system, you would choose this item here, items where the counters agree but the system does not. And when we do that, when we automatically do that, it takes those line items and it preps an inventory correcting document, right? So here we've got an inventory posting document. We'll just sort of refit the column width here. We see the plastic coil crimping pliers. It's a tongue twister there. In-house quantity was 9. We counted 8. There's a variance of -1, so on and so forth. And if we go ahead and we add that, that's our ledger correction, right? That's our inventory and ledger correction. So I go back to inventory posting. I can see that this is now added now. And if I golden arrow into the journal remark that's here, there's the actual journal posting that was made to correct the inventory. Okay, so that was a really quick tutorial on inventory posting. Again, for more on that, you should have this book, or you should go to the website. And of course, if you're a ProjectLine customer, you can always fire us off a question to support a ProjectLine. Thanks for paying attention.